On the last episode of Hardcore Minecraft, we found some diamonds to strengthen our defense, we built ourselves an iron farm for infinite iron, and then we did a bit of terraforming out the front of our house and planted some fields for a food supply. And between episodes, you'll be delighted to hear I've done absolutely nothing. Not a thing. So what with having done nothing in between episodes, that means we've got our work cut out for us today. There's a few things I want to do in regards to infrastructure around here, and of course, I do want to make sure that I hide the iron farm over there, and we may even get the portal set up properly as well, so that we're ready to do a proper nether exploration some point in the near future. The very first thing I want to do, though, is to build a bridge across here, because we're going to be doing some work with villagers, and I think it would be nice to actually have a way to get to and from the other island without having to get our feet wet. Plus, it's what I do. I'm a builder. I want the area to look nice. Speaking of which, we're also going to have to hide the iron farm at some point later on. But first off, let's just do a nice little chilled bridge build. Although instead of down there, I think I'm actually going to put the bridge in across this bit here because the ground's a little bit more level and that should make things look a little bit better once we're finished. Although I do need to do some flattening over there first. Well, it may not be perfect, but it's definitely better. We can at least receive a bridge on this side now without having to go up about 6 blocks, but we will sort out the rest of this landscape a little bit further down the line. For now, though, let's actually make a start on this bridge, shall we? Well, it's not quite finished, however, we are certainly getting there. It just looks a little bit feeble underneath, so we're going to need to do something to make it look a little bit more solid down here, but I do like the top and the mangrove wood, just once again, I love it. I followed the same colour palette as over here, of course, but I think that really works well. My one problem, however, has been a lack of wood, so we've been chopping wood and building with it straight away, and now I need more mangrove wood, and that stuff is an absolute pain to harvest, so I'm going to crack on with that, and hopefully when I bring you back in, the bridge will be a little bit more complete and looking a little bit more like that. I'm still not 100% sold on the underneath here. I still think it looks a little bit weak in certain places, so we might actually bulk out the stone underneath and actually sort of, you know, put in another layer or something. I don't really know, but for now, I think that's going to be absolutely fine. Although, something else I think this area needs is a little bit more foliage. And I don't mean more bushes and things like that, I actually mean maybe a couple of custom trees. Maybe having one here right by the entrance to the bridge would look quite nice, but that's something we'll tackle a little bit later on. It's not really on my agenda for today. Something that is on my agenda for today, however, frogs. So in the first episode, we did go all the way to the swamp, and we didn't actually catch ourselves any frogs, and that's something I want to change, but I need to empty my inventory first. We've got a whole mess in here left over from the bridge. Much better. So for this trip, we're going to need a bunch of buckets so we can actually pick up the tadpoles, and I might actually make a few more than we've got. I think it's time to take a trip to the iron farm. Clearly, the golems have been burning away nicely up here. Excellent stuff. So I think that's everything we're going to need. We have, of course, got a mangrove boat this time, doing it in style. And while we're there, I also want to stop off at the mesa to get ourselves some terracotta, because when we get back, we're finally going to be hiding that mess that is the iron farm. First, though, epic boat journey. Ooh, the bridge looks nice from the water as well. Ignore the fact the columns aren't actually connected to the seafloor yet. They will be. I just don't have enough stone because I don't have silk touch pick yet, and I don't actually have enough coal to cook up lots of cobble. So we will connect that up. It's just going to have to wait a little bit until we sort out the villagers, or potentially get lucky on the enchanting table. So the good news is now the full release of 1.19 is out. We've actually got some of our mods back. We've got sodium on, which means we can have a higher render distance. And look at that mesa over there. That is very cool. And in fact, it's a lot bigger than I expected. I thought it was just over that side. But my hope is that on the way back to the swamp this time, maybe we'll spot a little bit more and find something of interest. I'm mainly going to be keeping an eye out for some outposts because I'd love to get myself an allay as well if we can. We've not gone too far as yet, but I've just spotted a desert temple up here, and I can't just leave it. It's kind of in the opposite direction of where we're supposed to be going. We're supposed to be heading off that way, but as I say, I can't just leave it there, can I? Who knows, maybe we'll get an enchanted apple from here. Well, we've got some diamonds, but we still haven't found an enchanted apple yet. We've got one more chest to check. And no enchanted apple. Oh well. Right, enough distractions. Let's get back to this swamp. And there it is. There's the swamp. And once we get there, we just need to hang out until night time, and hopefully we can hunt a few slimes. And in the meantime, we'll keep our eyes peeled for frogs as well. So straight off the bat, we've actually got some frogs here, but I can't do anything with them because I do need that slime. And the reason we need that, of course, is because that's what we need to feed these frogs in order to get them to breed and to lay some tadpoles. I mean frog spawn. They lay frog spawn. And then we need to wait for the frog spawn to hatch into tadpoles, and then we'll collect those in the buckets. But of course we can't do any of this without that slime. So I guess for now, we're just going to have to watch the sun and wait for nighttime to arrive. Nighttime is just about here, so what I'm going to do is quickly just create a little safe zone around here, somewhere that's lit up so I can put a bed down and hopefully not die. Probably eat myself a little bit of food as well. And now we need to go hunt for some slimes. Hopefully some are going to arrive. I don't know what state the moon's in because they do of course spawn more on a full moon. What have we got? Okay, it's looking pretty good, so hopefully we'll get a decent amount of slimes. Although just one giant slime will probably give us what we need. Well, there's a lot of zombies. Jeez. There we go. There's the slime. That's what we need. Let's see if we can get in there and deal with him. We managed to get 9 slime balls from that mess, so let's quickly sleep the night away and get to breeding some frogs. So I'm going to have to keep an eye out for some creepers in the woods because they really do blend in. And look at that, there's another slime there as well. Got that, loads more slime. So come on fella, let's bring you outside and see if we can find another frog. There were definitely a couple around here somewhere. That's hilarious, look how fast he's walking. So give them both some slime and hopefully they should do something. I don't really know how this works. Look at that, we got the parrots and the bats as well. These are actually the first things we've bred. And now I think one of these should now come to the water's edge, lay some frog spawn, and then we just need to sit there and watch it until it actually hatches. It looks like it's going to be this one here. Excellent, look at that. Perfect. So I want to make sure the tadpoles don't go flying everywhere when they actually hatch. So what we're going to do is actually trap this area in just a little bit, and hopefully that should make them easier to catch. I feel like I've been standing here forever. I don't know how long these things actually take to hatch. Oh, there we go. They've just hatched, and look at that. It looks like we've actually got 5 tadpoles just from that one little batch of frog spawn. Amazing. Now we've just got to scoop them up. So with those 5 tadpoles, we'll be able to breed up lots more frogs when we get back to our island. But for now, I think we're going to go get ourselves some terracotta. So it's time to head back to the mesa. We'll just grab a little bit of this and a few of these. I think that's just about everything we need. Let's get home, shall we? Here we are, home sweet home. So I think the first thing we need to do is actually make a little pond somewhere for the frogs to hang out and live. And of course, somewhere they can grow up. And I think we might do that just over here near the wheat fields. On reflection, I think it might make more sense to have a little pond up here. And then when we get the tree in, it'll be a nice area for the frogs to live. So the first thing we need to do is just dig a big hole. Wait a minute, there might be a quicker way. I think that's done the trick just nicely. That looks like a reasonable size for the frogs to live in. We just need to actually make it look a bit nicer on the ground here. We'll mix in some andesite and cobble and whatnot. And of course, we need to fill it with water. So first up, let's mix in a little bit of cobble around some of the edges. We'll mix in a bit of mossy cobble as well. Maybe even some tuff. How's that going to look? Yeah, that works well. Okay, so before we go too much further, I need to get the water in so that I can actually put some water logs, slabs, and stairs in there. There we go, and now with the water in, we can actually do a little bit more in regards to the shaping of the bottom here. We'll mix in some coarse dirt and some path bits around the edges here. And then we'll add a little bit of foliage here and there, get some of that into the lake as well. A couple of sea pickles here and there. And I think for now, that'll just about do, which means we're ready to put the last few tadpoles in. The initial ones still haven't grown up yet, but I'm sure they won't be too far away. And hopefully once we get a few more blocks and things, we can actually make this look a little bit better. There's still some other things I want to do. But for now, I think we're just about ready to make a start on hiding this iron farm. So to hide the iron farm, what are we going to do? So there have been quite a few guesses and suggestions in chat. Lots of them saying lighthouse. It is the perfect place for a lighthouse, but that's not actually what we're going to do here. I do have a plan because there's a couple of other farms I'm going to want to put here as well. And I think what we're going to do is actually hide this and turn this sort of, well, this whole half of the island really into a big island fortress. But that's going to need a whole bunch of resources to build the whole thing, and to be honest, we're just not really kitted out to do that just yet. So for now, we're going to put this inside a tower, and we're going to mark out where the base of the fortress is going to be, and we'll build as much as we can. It's going to be primarily deep slate and stone variants, so, you know, not too hard to gather them. It's just a case of whether I'll have time to gather and build everything this episode or not. But we've certainly got enough to get started, so that's exactly what we're going to do. I think I'm just about done with the foundation of this place, and I've even connected it to the seafloor because I'm good like that. Just don't ask about the bridge. So what I've done is designed a bunch of different sections for the fortress. We're going to have an outdoor section here, which is going to be a walkway going around the outside, and all these raised sections here are going to be different parts of the internal structure. So these are going to be different height towers and so on. Another outside bit down here as well. And of course, we're going to need to put in some kind of... There's a frog. Oh my days, there's 3 frogs. What are you doing all the way over there? I made you a lovely pond over there. There's another frog. And another frog. Okay. Well, all 5 of our frogs appear to have hatched, but none of them are actually in the lake. What's wrong with your lake? Mild distraction here. Let's go get some slime and feed them again. I have a feeling we're going to end up with quite a few wandering frogs, and they might disappear, so let's just breed up a whole bunch of them, and then we'll never be without. Although we might be without slime, but that's a problem for a different day. Now, what was I saying about fortresses? Oh yes, we have a plan in place, but what we do not have at all, is any more deep slate. We've pretty much used all of it, and we don't really have the stone either, which means I need to get myself some silk touch. And, well, that just leads to a whole cacophony of problems that we're going to have to solve before we can actually build this fortress up anymore. And that means we didn't actually hide the iron farm at all. And that was kind of the whole point of this episode. Well, we failed on that mission. But even though we don't have the resources to sort out any more of this particular build from the outside, that doesn't mean we can't do a little something on the inside. And to be honest, I'm pretty sick of eating bread. So what we're going to do is get a slightly better food source. I mean, it's not going to be the best food in the world, but it's certainly going to be better than bread. Before we can do this build, however, we're going to need a number of things, and there's a few steps we need to do in order to prepare. Step 1, find a bunch of chickens and march them back to your house like a tiny chicken army. Step 2, coerce all the chickens into standing on top of a hopper with a trapdoor. Go on, in you get. Step 3, wait for eggs. But while we're waiting, we might as well build a cooker. I don't even know what step we're on now. Let's build the cooker. So we'll start with a barrel, and then we'll put a hopper in the back, a slab on top. And I've just realised I was about to build this whole thing out of wood, but we're going to be using lava. So that's just not going to pan out, is it? So for now, I think we're just going to use what little deep slate we have left. Let's put a dispenser on the back of that. Wire up a little bit of redstone, and that should just about do it. And we'll put a slab on there, some glass on the front, and then let's just fill in the rest of this. Perfect. So next we need a hopper on the top there, and why not make this a little bit bigger? Give the chickens some space to move about, and we can block off the rest of this. And let's just fill in the back here while we're at it as well. We then need to put lava in there. We'll put some moss carpet down there, and a trapdoor for adding more chickens. And in theory, that should be pretty much all we need. Apart from actually getting some chickens in there, of course. We've got a bunch of chickens in there. Excellent. And when they grow up, they'll start laying eggs. Those eggs will go into the dispenser, and of course they'll get spat out, and they won't get burnt by the lava until they grow up, and then they'll get cooked, and we'll get fresh chicken. Let's be honest, we've probably all built one of these before. I mean, it doesn't look much, but it should at least get the job done. So with our food situation improving, our frogs bouncing all over the place, and of course more chickens incoming, I think there's only one thing left for us to do today, and that, of course, is to give you all the seeds to this world. I've had lots of comments on the first couple of videos asking for the seed because, let's be honest, it is actually quite a cool world, and if you want to play along, then by all means, please do. The seed is down there in the bottom left corner. I will, of course, put it nice and big on the screen for you as well, so you might need to pause to write that down. And sadly, that's all I've got time for in today's episode. I hope you have enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all on the next one. Bye-bye now. Oh my god, we got a different coloured frog.